Hi, first graders. We are back with Junie B. Jones, Cheater Pants, and we are reading chapter 3 and 4 today. So let's get started. Chapter 3, Twitching. Finally, we got to the row right next to mine. That is where Jose and Lenny sit. When Jose's turn came, he smiled very proud. He said on Saturday his daddy bought him brand new soccer shoes, and he wore them to his soccer game, and he kicked the winning goalie with those things. Lenny went next. He said he got brand new hair gel, plus also he got a thickening cream. A thickening cream can make even the thinnest hair feel rich and full. Saturday, I made a pot in my pottery class, and after that, I was punctual to my ballet class, and the teacher said I danced like a gazelle. Yes, said May. Would you like to see me do a few steps? After that, she ran to the front of the room and she started to ballet, but Mr. Scary said to please sit down again. As soon as she got back, I jumped right up. My turn, I said, real thrilled. I tapped on my chin. Okay, well, let's see now. On Saturday, my grandpa Frank Miller came to babysit me, and he let me roller skate in the house. Plus, also, he let me jump on Mother's bouncy bed, only pretty soon I got very pooped. And so I ran to the kitchen. I drank chocolate milk right out of the carton without even a glass. I mean, whoa, said Herb. Whoa, said Lenny and Jose. Mr. Scary raised his hand to interrupt me. Excuse me, Junie B, he said. It sounds like you had a great time on Saturday, but I'm wondering why you're not reading from your homework paper. Just then my heart got very poundy and nervous, because I should have thought about that problem. I swallowed real hard. Well, let's see, I said kind of quiet. Why aren't I reading? Mr. Scary smiled. It's all right, he said. You can start over. Just take out your paper and read us what you wrote. After that, I stood there very frozen. I couldn't even move. Mr. Scary crossed his arms at me. You do have a homework paper, don't you, Junie B? I stood there a little while longer. Finally, I reached into my desk and I pulled out a homework I copied from May. I waved in the air, kind of weakish. After that, I quick sat down and I stuffed my paper back into my desk. Mr. Scary came back to where I sit. He said, could he please see my paper? I felt shaky and sickish inside. Very slow, I took out my paper again and I handed it over. After he read it, he shook his head. Then he took my hand and he walked me into the hall. It seems that you and May have very similar weekends, doesn't it, Junie B? He said. Yes, it does. Mr. Scary read my paper one more time. So, you take a pottery class, do you? He said. I rocked back and forth on my feet. Yep, I do. I take a pottery class and I make little, pots. Mr. Scary breathed real deep. Let's see, you take a ballet class too, huh? And gee, what a coincidence. On Saturday, your teacher said you dance like a gazelle, I said very fast. Gazelle, said Mr. Scary. Whatever, I said. My teacher sucked his cheeks in and he looked at the paper again. And you were punctual too? He said. That's amazing, isn't it? I looked up at him. Well, not if you get an early start, I said. Mr. Scary bent down next to me. His face was not jolly. Junie B. Jones, do you have any idea how disappointed I am in you right now? Just then, a tear came in my eyes, and I didn't even expect that trouble. I quick hanged my head so he couldn't see. Sorry, I said. Sorry you're disappointed in me. There's the picture of Junie B. and Mr. Scary. This is not looking good for Junie B. Mr. Scary took a big breath and he said we would talk more at recess. Then he gave me a tissue from his pocket and I wiped my tears. After that, we went back into the room and I sat down at my desk, very slumping. Because what do you know? I did writing in her journal. It is still Monday. Dear first grade journal, right now it is recess. I am not playing on the playground. And I would find May and I would clunk her in the head. I wish I didn't even sit next to that girl because people should never leave homework on their desks for other people to borrow. That is just asking for trouble, mister. From Junie B, first grader. Mr. Scary was writing at his desk and he looked up, very serious. I want you to explain this, Junie B, he said. I want you to tell me exactly why you copied May's homework this morning. I tried to swallow, but nothing went down. Let's see. The reason I copied it was, then all of a sudden I thought of it. Daddy, it was my daddy's fault. My teacher looked surprised at that. Your daddy told you to copy May's homework? Yes. No. Last night I wanted to stay up late to do my homework, but Daddy told me to turn out my light, and so that's the reason I had to come to school without it. Oh, I see, said my teacher. Your daddy wouldn't let you stay up, so that's what forced you to copy May's paper. Yes, that's exactly it. No, silly. May would never be that nice. It's just that this morning she kept on bragging on how her homework is always an A+, and then she left in his chair. Ah, so when May left for the office, you saw her paper and you just decided to borrow it. I said, I decided to borrow it to copy. My teacher did a frown. Borrow. He said, no, Junie B, I'm sorry, but borrow is not the right word here at all. When you copy someone else's paper, it's called cheating. My eyes got big and wide at that word, because what was he even talking about? No, Mr. Scary, no, I didn't cheat. I didn't. Cheating is when you steal answers off of someone's test. But homework isn't a test. Homework doesn't even count hardly. Oh, but homework does count, Junie B, he said. Cheating is not just about stealing test answers. Cheating is any time you take someone else's work and you present it as your own. He looked at me. When you cheated this morning, you broke my trust in you, Junie B, he said. We have a rule about this in room 1. Wow, just sounds like our classroom. We have a rule about that too. There's the picture and how it's important to build up your trust tower. And anytime you do something that's not what the teacher expects or is not making a good choice, that trust tower starts to break down. Well, we keep our eyes on our own papers. You heard me say that 100 times, I bet. I felt surprised at that information. That's a rule? No kidding. I always thought that was, like a suggestion. Mr. Scary rolled his eyes. No, Junie B, it's not a suggestion. It's definitely a rule. It's an important rule, too. Well, I'll be darned, I said. After a while, I did a deep breath. I'm to understand each other better. I will not put up with cheaters in this classroom. I did a wince. Yeah, only I wish you wouldn't keep saying that cheater word, because I didn't even know I was cheating hardly. Plus, I don't like cheaters either, Mr. Scary, on account of my daddy cheated me at Old Maid last week, and I am still not over that terrible experience. Your daddy cheated, he said. Yes. Daddy raised the Old Maid way high in his hand so I would pick her, and then I did. And so what kind of sneaky trick is that? Mr. Scary covered his mouth. My Grandpa Frank Miller is supposed to be on a diet, but yesterday my grandma found an empty pie pan in the closet, and all that was left was a little bit of crust and a plastic fork. I thought for a second. No wonder I cheated. Cheating is in my blink, but cheating at school is a very different matter, Junie B. Cheating in school is serious business. Are we clear on that now? Clear, I said. After that, both of us shook hands, and Mr. Scary carried my chair back to my desk. After I sat down, he took an envelope out of his pocket and he handed it to me. I wrote a note to your parents explaining what happened this morning. I would like them to read it and sign it, okay? And you can bring it back to me tomorrow morning. No, Mr. Scary, not okay. Please don't make me take a note home. Please, I don't want to take that note. Mr. Scary thought for a second. Then he took the note back. Well, okay. If you feel that... What? What kind of a choice is that? I stomped back to his desk and I grabbed that note and I stuffed it in my backpack and I sat down at my desk and I wrote in my journal one more time, Mr. Scary is a tattletale. Oh my goodness. Yikes. It's the picture of Junie B after here talking about cheating in first grade. Wow. I think we can all agree that Junie B. Jones did not make the best choice here. And we talk about this in our class often. When we make a mistake, the best thing we can do is own it and say, yes, I made that mistake and I'm sorry and I'm going to try really hard not to do it again. So I hope Junie B gets to that same place and I hope she learns her lesson and I hope she can grow from this mistake and she can, learn her lesson and do better next time. I can't wait until we read again on Tuesday, chapter 5, the note, and we'll see what happens with Junie B when she takes that note home.